Welcome back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for life. And today we're going to just jump in the topic of having a dream and the power of a dream. We're going to look at really what the definition is of what dream is, what vision is, and then really dive into the intricacies of dreams and really why a lot of us really don't actually go after our dreams, or we don't actually make the dreams a reality. Look, the truth is a dream is one of these things that we've been culturalized to think that, man, it may be out of reach. It may seem like it's too big for you. But today we're going to debunk that theory. We're going to talk about that. We're going to just kick that to the curb, because when you have a dream, that's an indication of something powerful. That's an indication that you have something in you that needs to get done, that needs to be in the world, and that needs to happen in your lifetime. So, with that said, guys, I just want to welcome you, and I want you to listen to this short intro of why this podcast exists.
Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
All right. Let's get into this power of a dream. But before we really get into the power and all the fun stuff, we got to talk about the biggest issues when it comes to dreams. And so when I went to look around and look up dreams, and, one of the things that stuck out to me is one word, and the word is fantasy. Or fantasies, right? And so we've been culturalized to think and to believe that a dream is a fantasy. Fantasies, which means it's out of reach for you and it's out of reach for me. So just imagine, right? You come into this world, you're a clean slate. You come here, you came from a different world. Yes, you did. You came from a different world. You were sent here on a mission to bring something here. But yet, when we start getting these glimpses, you start getting these pictures, because that's what dream is. You start getting these pictures and images and sensations, and you start getting these understandings, and it's getting exciting. But the moment you start talking about your dream, people are looking at you as if you have two heads. Now, in the Bible, Bible's a great book, isn't it? Isn't it a powerful book? The Bible is full of dreams. The Bible is full of fantasies. Seriously, they are. We're going to talk about some dreams and fantasies. One of the most noted dreamers in the Bible. You know who he is? His name's Joseph. He's one of the most noted dreamers. Now, Abraham's a dreamer too. We're not getting his story as of yet. We're going to talk about Joseph really quick. Not going to go into the whole story. You know what it is. But Joseph was the dreamer that you heard about. Literally, he's called a dreamer. Why? Because Joseph went to sleep one night, and all of a sudden, Joseph saw some things that really got him excited. And then Joseph went out and started talking to his family. He says, man, do you know that last night I had a dream, and in that dream, everybody's going to be bowing down to me. It was like you were bowing down, he was bowing down, everybody's bowing down to me. And then just imagine you showed up to your family. You're already, he wasn't the black sheep, but he was a good sheep, because his people, like his father, was treating him like he was like the best son. He's got the coat of many colors, and so his brothers are already upset. that the fact that he's being given special treatment. And then all of a sudden he shows, I had a dream last night, guys, and man, oh man, everybody's going to bow down to me. So just imagine that, right? Everybody bowing down. They're like, no, that ain't going to happen. So one of the problems that he had is that he didn't understand his dream. This is one of the powers in a dream. When you don't understand the dream and we get out talking about the dream, we're telling our family, we're telling our friends, and they're looking at you as who you are. They're like, get out of here, man. That stuff is not going to happen for you. Does anybody ever tell you that? I remember, I'm going to tell you, man, back in 2012, this is when I was enlightened to the fact that I knew I'm going to be really rich. I'm going to be really rich. And I said to a family member, I says, man, I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. You know what the family member said? Get out of here. That is not going to happen. No way. No way. That's what the family member said to me. That's not going to happen. Now, I didn't have a dream like Joseph, where I could talk about the fact that my family was going to be bowing down to me, or I'm going to be this big person. But I knew that there was something. I knew that this is going to happen for me. And boy, oh boy, with that day, it just was like, no way. So Joseph's big problem was this. He had the dream. And then he didn't understand his dream. And so he went out blurting his dream all around to the people who one couldn't understand his dream either. And because they couldn't understand his dream either, then they started despising him about his dream. So think about this. When you have a dream and you then start talking about the dream to people who are not actually living their dream, what is going to happen to your dream? Your dream is going to be killed. There are so many dreams that have been murdered. So many. Like, the cemetery is the richest place on the earth because that's where all the dreams are. That's where all the businesses are. That's where all the visions went. That's where so many books didn't get written. That's where so many families didn't get started. That's when so many products didn't create and things just didn't happen because they all went into the seminary. So there's no power in those dreams. Joseph had a dream. What's interesting about the Joseph story is that we get to look at the story from when it happened, right? So back then, Joseph couldn't see nothing. He's just going through life. So imagine this: you're having a dream, your family sell you. Now, if it were me, I may be mad. I may be upset at my family. I may be upset about life, and I may not necessarily be thinking about this dream anymore. But it just looks like Joseph still lived this cool life where, he did all the right things. He said all the right stuff. And then all of a sudden, now he can interpret dreams. Once he goes to prison, we're not talking about the whole story. I'm just kind of just running through his story really quick because we got to get back to the power of a dream for you, right? What's the power in the dream? Because we're going to get to that. So Joseph then realizes he has a power in himself because of what he's seen already inside of his own dream. Even though he had no control over bringing his dream to life. Ooh, this is powerful here. See, a lot of times, and I've done this, we try and get control. And because we try and get control, we lose control. So if we are going to experience the power within the dream, we have to give up all control over the fact that we had this dream. I was in a conversation yesterday with one of my clients, best client ever. And the conversation turned. It was weird. I was calling him for one thing, but then the conversation turned into something else. You don't want to miss this. See, because sometimes you'll be called to do something in your dream that doesn't make any sense. And it didn't make any sense that I was calling. Something said, just call him. You ever heard of intuition? Where intuition just tells you to do something and you, let's go ahead and do it. But then a lot of times we have this intuition and we don't do anything. So I picked up the phone and I called him. We're talking. We had some. We're talking about business. We're talking about things. He's giving me some stuff, and I could see that in this conversation, it was turning into something different. Where it turned to kind of like in this, where we're talking about dreams. We're talking about big dreams, and then he brought me into his life. Don't miss this part. He brought me into something. Here's what he brought me into. He says, Jay. Because I said something to him. I says, man, because sometimes we have a dream, we get big problems. You at times will have big problems. And he was telling me about this huge problem he had. And I says, wow. I said, man, the problem that I have is nothing compared to yours. And we laughed. And then we got to talking about some of the things that he's done. And then he shared something with me. He says, Jay, I go after, he goes after really big things. Do you go after things that seem bigger than you? See, in his mind, nothing is bigger than him. And this is what I had to learn in the conversations. This happened in about an hour. He says, look, Jay, when I go after something, there's never a time when I doubt that I could get it. It just because I know I can get it, and because it's almost like because I can see it, then it's mine. I'm paraphrasing some of the things that he said. And I says, wow, that's interesting. He's dealing with this contract that he had with the company for like 17 million, going after another thing that's probably worth 100 million. And he just says, I know I can do it. There's nothing in me that says I can't. He says, I don't allow doubt ever to come in. See, when we have a dream for something, the biggest problem that we face is doubting that it can actually happen. Seriously, I had a dream some years ago. I'm not going to tell you exactly how the dream went, but I had a dream a few years back, 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, that something was going to happen. But here's the problem that I faced. I was doubting it because I'm wondering, well, how is that going to happen? It's just based on what I'm doing. It just doesn't seem like this is even possible. I'm being honest with you. See, because you have this dream, but then you start doubting that the dream is even possible. And then you're starting to cancel out the fact that you have this dream and you can't get it. Because you're telling the dream, no, don't come because I don't think you're possible. See, there's a couple of powers inside of a dream. You got the power to get the dream, which is having no doubt. And then you have the power to cancel the dream, which is having doubt. So when I was talking to my friend and he's telling me about he never doubts it, and that's the difference between he and me. I was like, wow. He says, you have doubt. I don't. I says, whew, I didn't call you for this, but yet I'm here to get it. I was on the call and I said, you know what? There's no reason why the dream that I had is not a reality today. It's not that I have to force it to come, but I have to live in the dream that I know that I had. And because I know that I had this dream, and I know that the dream has already occurred, which means that the information in the dream is real. So let's look at that. The definition of a dream, it says a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind during sleep. But we can just remove the sleep and say a series of thoughts, images, and sensations occurring in a person's mind. A cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. So, but then the last thing is this. Is it a fantasy? Is it a fantasy or is it a reality? let's talk about the reality. Let's talk about really how dreams come about. And it comes about through vision. Vision, the power to see. The power to see. I picked up my son yesterday from the train station. He was coming back from a trip and picked him up when we were driving. And we have a long conversation. We were just talking about stuff. And I started sharing with him vision, things that I'm seeing, things that they haven't yet occurred physically, but I'm speaking out what I know is going to happen. I'm speaking out my power to see something that's in a future time period, but as I'm seeing it, I know that it's right now. See, vision is the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination. I'm gonna say and wisdom, because without those two things, you won't see it. Albert Einstein says it really well. He says, imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions. So when you use your ability to have vision, which is your ability to see what is in front of you, you can then bring what is in front of you from a time that is invisible to a time that is physical. So when you have a dream, right, and you start to see this dream, you start to see in details, right? I think it's in Habakkuk. It says, write the vision and make it plain so that those who read it can actually go and do it. So part of the challenge for a dreamer is the fact that you then see it, but then the bigger challenge is that can I say it in such a way, can I write it in such a way that those who see it can run with it? Is that even like how do I do that? So I went into my quiet time this morning, start seeing things, speaking them out, living it out. And one of the things that I saw this morning was the fact that, wow, I'm walking around with something that the right person needs. The right person. There's people who have dreams right now, and they're having a challenge bringing their dreams to reality. My client told me the fact that he says, Jay, you're stronger than me. Now, that was a little challenging for me. He says your power is stronger because you are able to actually then set to get to help to implement what needs to be done for the things to happen. He says that's why it's strong. He says, Jay, I can think it up, but then I don't have to. A lot of times I'm having a hard time getting others to help me to do the stuff. He says, but you have that. You have that piece of helping dreams come to reality. And I was like, wow. He says, you have this. See, when someone tells you that they see something in you, especially when it's good, especially when you can feel the elevation in it. It feels like, wow, you see that in me. You see a book in me. You see that I can bring dreams to reality. You see that I can, that my gift may be great. You're telling me my gift may be greater than yours. Like, how could you even say that? But here's the thing. He says, this is what he said. He says, because you're looking at mine, you can't see yours. I said, whoa. I said, now that right there is powerful. What's happening, Olivia? It's good to see you out here. Oh my goodness. He says, because you're looking at my gift and how I operate. He says, you're not seeing how big yours is. And he says, man, yours is bigger than mine. because you can actually use, he says, I'm a strategist, but you can take strategy and then you take the strategy and then you can help to implement the strategies. And that is, he says, bro, he says the implementation is everything. He says, that's what you got. I said, wow, interesting. But here's the thing. When we are focused too much, when we're focused too much on, oh my goodness, woe is me, I don't know how it's going to work. It's not, is it going to happen for me? We're focused on that. We're looking at other people having success and I'm not doing it yet. And it's not, but we're not actually seeing the fact that you're walking with something already that's powerful enough to help someone else get to where they're going. So look, your dream is powerful. Your dream is powerful. But here's what I want you to take away today from knowing and seeing the power in your dream. Two things is the fact that it's not a fantasy. So the first thing I know, this is not a fantasy. Your dream is not a fantasy. That's what you have to. My dream is not a fantasy. My dream is real. There are real images. There are real. Let's look at it again. There are real images and thoughts and sensations that are occurring in my mind that I know are real. And because I know they are real, I know that they have already happened in a different time. The first thing. Then the second thing is, in order to bring the dream to reality, I have to use my ability to see in detail what it is that I saw in my dream and put together statements, put together pictures, put together promises and practices that can literally help other people. What did Joseph do? He put together a program to interpret dreams. He says, well, I can't interpret mine, so let me go ahead and interpret yours, the baker and the other guy. So what did he do? He interpreted them. He was able to then say, because I had a dream, my dream is powerful. He didn't have control over that dream. He then had to turn his power over to someone else, give them what they need so that they can understand and know what's going to happen with them. I'm going to invite you today to look at what you've been given. You got to first look at it on the surface. I've been placed in the realm of money. That's where I've been placed. My job is to help people to get more money. That's my job. I gotta help people get more money because my dream is full of it. But here's the thing, it's not to control that, but it's to then turn the other side, just like Joseph did. He says, you know what? I can't do anything about my dream, but I can sure help you with yours. And when he went and he helped the people that he can help right then and there. They needed help. He showed them and it worked. He then saw the power. Now, here's the thing, but he still didn't get the manifestation of his dream yet. That's the point. That's the thing right there. Don't even look at that. Your job at that point is to continue on the path of helping as many as you can. That's why I'm here, to help as many as I can to interpret their dreams and to put together a financial strategy that can help them get to their financial objectives as soon as possible. That's what I'm doing in 2025 to help people to live their dreams. We're going to start with your financial objectives for 2025. Get those objectives dialed in so that you can exceed those objectives. And so at the end, you'll say, wow, I exceeded my objectives. And whatever this guy taught me was powerful. I almost can't believe that it happened. So guys, that's the power of a dream today. And hopefully if you got value today from this program, make sure you share this with someone else like it. Comment, let me know if you have a dream. If you've got a dream, right? If you've got a dream, and one of the caveats is this. You're a visionary. You are aspiring or seasoned business owner, right? And you need help exceeding your financial objectives in 2025, then you want to reach out. You want to leave a comment here and say, hey, I need help exceeding. You got to first look, what are my financial objectives in 2025? Then ask yourself, would I like to exceed those? That's why you would hire Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant. You would help me, because it's not just to meet them, it's to exceed them. And if you want to exceed your financial objectives in 2025, then reach out, let me know that that's what you would like. And then we'll have a conversation. We'll figure out what your objectives are. And then we'll figure out if, with the information that we gather on that call, whether or not it's a good fit for you and I to help you to exceed your objectives. Guys, I hope you got value today, and be sure to share this with somebody you love who has a dream. Guys, I appreciate you, love you, and I will see you back here on the next one. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.